You are just in time for this week's episode of Setting the Pace. Thank you very much for tuning in here at Zuku Sports. My name is Sadiq Shaban. Now, we are going to meet in this episode a man who has won an Olympic title, 2 World Championships, and he says his next focus now will be the world record. Is he in good shape to be able to attack that particular record? But first, where are our athletes? Where are our world champions? Where are our Olympic champions? How come we do not see, hear, or read about anything after they win major titles in the world? Are they taking advantage of their branding, visibility, and everything that pertains to their popularity? We are going to be engaging our experts in the studio to discuss that and much more. This is Setting the Pace. Before we look at the major business of this show, let's catch up with what's been making headlines in the world of athletics this week. Weeks before he traveled to Berlin to attempt the world marathon record, Wilson Kiprotich Kipsang had already set his eyes on the prize.
I'm targeting mainly a time of 2 hours and 2 hours, 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Any time below that, I think it will be good for me.
And so it came as no surprise to many after he shaved 15 seconds from the previous world marathon record to clock an unprecedented 2 hours, 3 minutes and 23 seconds at the 2013 Berlin Marathon. Two-time marathon men's champion Abel Kirui had predicted something special and a world record possibility from Kipsang.
For Kipsang, he's always a dangerous man. He is a man, when he says he can make or near to, because he has missed for like all 4 seconds, you see. London missing the course record by 4 seconds, missing the world record by 4 seconds. So he's a fearful man. I fear him even in his preparation. Always, he may do something.
First of all, I want to say that congratulations to Kipsang. It was not an easy executing that kind of performance, and also now that it has confirmed that Kenya as a nation, we are actually renowned. We have put our feet down in the world map as a long distance country, that we are respected and known world over.
Berlin Marathon course has become a world record playground for record holders. Paul Tergat from Kenya, Haile Gabriel Selassie from Ethiopia, and Patrick Macau from Kenya all set the last 3 world marathon records at the Berlin Marathon course. It is precisely 1 month since the conclusion of the 14th edition of the IAAF World Championships in Athletics that was held in Moscow. But where are the runners? Where are the world champions? Where are the silver medalists? Where are the gold medalists? And where are the athletes that captivated the world for 10 straight days? Our whole world was at standstill, cheering and looking up to what they were doing in the World Championship. Why is it that in the East African television scene, the newspapers, we tend to read more and see politicians every day, day in, day out, at the expense of athletes and at the expense of world champion, Commonwealth champion, Olympic champion, Africa champions, national champions, and people that ought to take their rightful position before the media and in other places where their brand could be visible? We're going to put that question to our specialist here in the studio and hear from them and ask the question, where are the athletes and what is it that they are failing perhaps to do in order to leverage on their global branding and imaging? I am joined by Derek Berger.
Thank you, Sadiq. First of all, I'm really thankful that you've allowed me to come here and talk a little bit about what I consider important. I work with professionals in many fields, including athletes, in helping them be seen, heard, and remembered for the right reason. It's about their soft skills, which I believe are the most important criteria for success once you are off the field or the track.
Fantastic. Douglas Wakihuri is a man I would take a whole day to describe in terms of what he has achieved, but roughly he has won a number of gold medals. He's won a number of events, both locally, I would imagine continentally, and also many people remember him from way back in 1998, 1989. But he would be remembered at the moment as a founder and director of Sotokota Half Marathon, annual marathon that is held in Nairobi. And importantly, he is a retired athlete. And I know you've been in Japan for most of your time, so greet our viewers really in Japanese.
Minasan, konbanwa.
Derek, I saw you just went blank on that.
You know, it's interesting. I actually took Japanese a long time ago in college. And so I was just trying to recall some of that. But yeah, that's really interesting.
Derek, I would imagine, where would you start? Imagine the global aspect of their branding, their imaging. These are people that are more popular than some presidents in Africa. They are popular than some politicians, key businessmen and billionaires of Africa. Yet we don't see that aspect working for them. Where's the missing link here?
Look, the country was abuzz for those 10 days. And I'm talking about the recent World Championships. We celebrated these athletes, these fine men and women putting Kenya on the international stage in the map. And then all of a sudden, a black hole appears and they disappear. And I'm going to contrast this with athletes like Bolt, like Mo Farah, again, household names who are in the paper literally every day. These people are doing world tours. They're like musicians. Right. They go from stadium to studio to stadium and they're celebrated. I think athletes, and this is what I'm going to say, the athletes. I'm not going to blame the government. I'm not going to blame anyone else. I say the athletes need to take their careers into their hands. They need to become masters of their destiny. They need to start knowing that it is not just being successful on the track, but being successful off the track, which is going to give you a legacy, which is going to give you those added dollars or shillings in terms of endorsements. And there needs to be a clear change in strategy. They need to have a strategy. Success on the track, and now a strategy to capture or take advantage of that success.
Douglas Wakihuri, you have been a runner. And I'm going to put this question to you one more time. Why is it that we do not have athletes coming out, interacting with the media, befriending them? Or are the athletes and media not one and the same thing? Or are they just too fast for the media?
No, I think there are two areas where you want to look at this. There's the right and the left. An athlete will always question a media house, why you didn't put my picture and I won a gold medal. That is one. The athlete likes that part. But when you turn around and come for this, let's say for expression, contribution, visibility, we tend to shy away. And there is a few reasons. I think one of the reasons is because of the agency. The agent has basically locked you up and said, anything you do must come through me. An athlete is signing this contract without understanding the repercussions of this contract. Because for me, I think whether I'm going to sign a contract with an agent, I must sacrifice that one time to represent this country and run for this country because that's where I belong. And I believe that. So secondly, this contract should not cut my legs. Why am I feeding the agent and I'm not feeding my own people? Those are some of the decisions that athletes must take and make decisions and understand the concept of this agreement.
And Derek, I know you're itching to say something. Go ahead.
I mean, don't these athletes have an obligation for us who cheered them during the success of whether it was the Olympics or the national or the World Championships? Don't they have an obligation to sort of give back to us, the Kenyan people, by making sure that they're doing the rounds, whether it's in the studio or the media, going around and meeting, you know, young children who want to aspire to also be world-class and leading athletes? So I don't know what relationship they have with these agents, but I would imagine that not only with that, because visibility equals credibility, and that credibility is going to lead to more success, whether it's in terms of endorsements.
And speaking of which, Derek, well, it's still about that point. Let's take, for example, the world champions from the recently concluded World Championship. We also recently, in 2012, had the Olympics. I would imagine, by virtue of winning a medal there, you earn recognition. And, you know, you're not begging for publicity, as it were. definitely that should make you a hot potato for the media to chase you around. But where's the missing link? Why is that not happening?
You know what? In fact, the red carpet is rolled out. You should be flown around in business class or first class, whatever the thing is. You know, you've won a gold medal. I think it goes back to perhaps one of the questions that you asked, and our athletes are naturally, for some reason, maybe a little bit shy, maybe a little bit suspicious of the media, when they should be actually using the media to become a little bit more vocal, to become more visible, and really use it to their advantage. I want to see an athlete make what I call silly money. And when we talk about silly money, we're talking about money that well-known brands, whether it's a LeBron James or a David Beckham or Usain Bolt, outside of the track, where there are sponsors, there are potential endorsers who are itching to have you talk about their products. I think also there's a lack of confidence that some of these athletes have. Confidence in their ability to appear in the media, lack of confidence in their communication skills, and ultimately lack of confidence in their public image.
Let me just before you, let me put this one to you. Serena Williams, and we're just taking a break from athletics here, just to look at how other sportswomen and sportsmen in the world are earning money outside their professional career. Serena Williams, about $1 million from Wilson. Her sister, Venus Williams, about $40 million from Reebok. Let me put this question to Derek, because then he's in charge of public image, and you have quite a range of clientele you deal with day in, day out. Are the athletes too many, or are you too few? Those of you in this public image and visibility industry, that you cannot handle all of them, or athletes simply haven't come and showed the need to be able to engage public image consultants to boost their brand and image?
You know, Shaban, if I was to look at my phone and tell you that I have numbers of CEOs, I have numbers of corporate clients, I have numbers of politicians, I don't have any numbers of athletes.
Not even one.
Maybe that says something about me and not necessarily business. But the point I'm trying to illustrate here is that people have recognized in the corporate world, maybe in politics, that the skills that you need in order to communicate, the skills that you need in order to sell yourself as a brand, and you're a product as an athlete, are not a nice to have, they're a need to have. And athletes need to reach that point where they need to have these skills in order for them to cash in on their success, which they richly deserve on the track. And so athletes really need to say to themselves, I'm going to invest a little bit in terms of my personal brand and in terms of marketing my image.
Let's now catch up with the one such champion. No, that is not visible in any way. We are not saying that. But here is the freshly minted world champion in 1500 meters, Asbel Kiprop. He spoke to Zuko Sports, and he graces our pace setting segment tonight.
Well, I call this one a redemption after what happened in London in 2012, when I was really ready and I wanted to win a medal for Kenya in Olympic Games. But I am happy for 2013. It is a year that I actually redeemed myself after failing to secure my title in London. Honestly, it is going to be a year whereby there is no main championship like the World or Olympic Games. But I'm looking forward to bettering my time. If not running faster than 3:26 is 3:26. But my main focus is actually to attempt Hicham El Khoraichi world record when it comes to Monaco. After I achieve what I want, after I achieve my talent, I want a season that's unbeatable season. I want a season that is consistent. I want to be Asbel Kiprop. I want to have one season that I'll say this year I was unbeatable, untouchable in 1500. If I achieve that and break the world record, I will think of maybe moving onwards to the 5K or something else. Before the World Championships, yes, I managed to run a 3:27. That is the fastest. I've been ran for the last 8 years. But it came also when I was ready, and I had a point to prove. I wanted to prove to my fans and my competitors as well that Asbel is still the man. Well, Mo Farah is that talented person. He's that unique athlete, and he has potential capabilities of running any kind of event. So pitting him in my fan was actually a priority. I had to do so because, you know, if somebody will come and pit you in your race, it will really demoralize you, especially if the person is not in his specialty. So it is very hard. So beating him was not a miracle. The guy is more determined, especially in his training. When you follow his programs, when he comes to Kenya to train, and all of the programs, and he goes to the United States and trains in England as well. He is a kind of a focused athlete and determined. So that's why he's winning championship. He's beating Ethiopians, he's beating Kenyans. So he has what it takes. Everybody was waiting for Asbel Kiprop to win the gold medal naturally on track in London, and I was ready. I was set for. I had set myself actually to win that race, but who knows? Unfortunately, the injury came at the wrong time. That's the worst time of my career. I think it is one of the best moments. To hear the national anthem sung, and everybody stands on the track. For Kenya national anthem. Because of you, it is that great thing. To make everybody, 40,000 people, stand up in the stadium and pay respect to the national anthem. Because of you, it is great. Well, what I don't understand about we Kenyan athletes is the relationship with the media, because you find it very hard for some of us. You're not responding to the media. I think it needs kind of moral lessons to be given to the athletes, to understand the importance of the media and how they will build their personality, their well-being and career with them. It's not about world championship, but it's about breaking the world record, running more than everyone has ever run, to 1500. That's my main goal.
I was asking you before the break, how come we do not have an athlete from Kenya, we do not have an athlete from Uganda or Tanzania with a website where people can find out more about this athlete? And social media is becoming an integrated part of our lives. Again, Derek, we're just looking at one such posting minutes ago on Facebook, and everybody wanted to go under the table.
Shaban, in this day and age of extreme visibility, not having a website for somebody who's an international athlete actually defies logic. How are you going to compete? You've got to be in it to win it. How are you going to get that brand visibility when the majority of communication these days is done online? So I would encourage all the athletes out there to please put up a website. Now, if you do have a website, or you have a Facebook page, or you're posting on Twitter, again, you have to be aware that what you are posting will have ramifications. And these postings have been known to bring down careers of athletes. So there has to be some sort of sensitivity. You've got to start thinking about your image. You've got to start thinking about your brand. You've got to start thinking about what potential sponsors are going to be looking at, and just becoming aware. That's part of that branding strategy, that personal branding strategy that I was talking about.
Douglas, an athlete watching right now says, look, I've just seen Paul Tergat has been made the member of the IOC after retiring, and Paul Tergat has been in the media visibility circles for a very long time, and someone's wondering, how am I going to live after my running career? Probably I'm looking up to Douglas Wakihuri. He's going around the world. He has his own event, and there is no question about being visible, because then you are ripping from the brand that you have worked for many years. 3 quick steps. Where does an athlete start at the moment?
Contact issue is a big problem to our athletes. There are so many opportunities in this country, in this world, for Kenyan athletes, but they just never get to be there when these opportunities appear. For me, I think I've been around for a very long time, and I'm still going to be there. So as an athlete, contributing your time is important. Secondly, you have to be positive and understand that the discipline you take to win a gold medal must be maintained even after winning the race, because that is what attracts, unless you want to kill the brightness of the medal itself.
Let me bring in members of the public in our discussion. And what are members of the public thinking about how our athletes can be able to leverage on their branding and imaging that so many of them have worked so hard in order to acquire?
I don't think the athletes they don't have any problem, but what I would insist is I think they are managers. If you have a manager, that manager should know and should have an idea of many endorsements that you have.
It's not only when you've won a marathon or such, or when you get to the Olympics or the World Cup is when you should be noticed. I think athletes should have a connection from the word go.
If you're an athlete in Kenya, you're like a celebrity, and if you can use that one for yourself, then it means you can do marketing for products out there. But it depends with how you're able to package yourself, yeah. So that if you are running or not, the package, the brand that you are, can actually help you make more money or even make money if something happens to your career.
Well, before I let Derek and Douglas Wakihuri go, I'm just going to give you a chance, really, Derek, very quick, in just a breath. Imaging and branding. Someone would wonder, is dressing part of it, very briefly, before I ask you a question?
Yes, it's part of your image. I mean, we're visual creatures. That's what people see when they meet you for the first time. So even as you carry yourself off the track, the way you dress, the way you appear at events, says a lot about your personal branding. Again, this is the whole pantheon of public image. This toolbox of strategic communication, investing in the right clothes, investing in having the right voice, and investing in portraying the right image.
So Derek, as it were, you wouldn't have come to the studio with your suit like that, but you're wearing trainers.
Well, this is my brand, Shaban. This is my brand, wearing suits and ties.
And I'm
wearing
looking at
the
an
appropriate
athlete, sometimes they don't have a suit, probably someone doesn't have any clothes
Well,
for any official...
dressing appropriately for appropriate occasions.
Right.
So in Douglas's case, this is absolutely fine. He's a well-renowned track athlete. It's fine for him to dress like this, but I'm sure if he was invited to a gala event or a black tie dinner, he would show up dressed appropriately.
And I know many people would be shocked to see an athlete dressed like Derek here. Derek, let me before I go to... Before we go to the Japanese guy, because I like to call Wakihuri Mr. Japan. Let me ask you a personal question, Derek. How was your first date?
My first date?
Yes.
With...
Yes. Let me take it a notch higher, Derek. I know you're very daring. How was your first kiss? One word.
I enjoyed it.
Wakihuri.
Yes.
Tell me something. Who is your favorite musician in Kenya?
Oh, I think I listen across the board.
Just give me, just in about 5 seconds, give me a chorus from your favorite musician. In just 5 seconds.
Favorite?
Yes.
Wow.
Just give me a chorus. Come on.
5
seconds. 5 seconds.
Man.
Just sing for me. Just sing for me. Yeah. Could be Japanese, could be anyone. Just sing for me. 5 seconds.
That mate.
Yeah.
Size 8.
Yeah. Go on. That's your camera there. Just sing for me.
Oh man. Tell me in Japanese. Let me sing in Japanese.
Yeah, you hit it in Japanese.
Gambare yo, imma kara asu wo, gambare yo, keme ikiyo, gambare yo.
I have no idea what you just said.
Whatever he's saying, that's how my date went.
And that is precisely how you get to know athletes. Now, let's catch up with one athlete who went through exactly what these guys went through when we put some of these questions up to them.
My favorite meal is mukimo. My first car was Nissan Sunny. Okay, my first win was in 1995 in a race called Ollage Classic in the USA, New York. We both met at Kenya Prisons College at Ruiru, where we were enrolled as prison officers, and we were in the same squad. My first kiss was, when was it? In 1996 with Anthony. I love a lot of songs, so I don't know which one to say, because I don't want to offend all those that I love.
If any of our viewers watching right now and just made sense of what Douglas Okiuri is saying before we spoke to Ndereba, please get in touch with us here at Zuku Sports. Derek, thank you very much indeed for your time. And now I have an idea of how your first date went.
Yes, exactly.
It was Japanese all the way. Many thanks indeed. Look forward to having you again in setting the pace.
We have to come again.
Thank you very much, Douglas Wakihuri. And how do I thank you in Japanese?
Arigato gozaimasu.
Arigato
gozaimasu. Arigato gozaimasu.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Thank you very much.
Very well. In the last installment of Setting the Pace, in our athletics trivia question here, I asked you who is the current world record holder in 1500 meters and what is the time? If you tweeted us at Zuku Sports with Hecham Al Garouj, and that time is 3 minutes 26 dead, then you are the winner of our trivia question. If you didn't get it right, then this is the opportunity for you to get it right. And this week we are asking you, where is the 2015 World Championships in athletics going to be held? Which country and city? Tweet us at Zuku Sports, and in the next installment I'll be able to say who got it right. Well, just like athletes, we're always running against time here on Setting the Pace on Zuku Sports, but sadly, that's where we're going to have to leave it this week. Thank you indeed very much for watching Setting the Pace here on Zuku Sports. Remember, you can always get in touch with us through our Twitter handle at Zuku Sports, and we'll be able to listen to what you're saying. That's all for me, and on behalf of the team, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now.